Good morning, Corey from Rockpole. How you going? So this morning we're just going to do a first oil change on the Hustler XD 54. It's our zero turn mower. I was recommended to do an oil and filter change at 10 hours. So it's up to 9.2, so I figured I'm going to do a bit of mowing this weekend, so I may as well do it now. So basically we've just got a service kit that came with the mower when we bought it. Dealer said at 10 hours do oil and filter, so I'm just going to use the oil and filter out of there. Basically down here there's a little spout and a 10mm screw, so we just get a bit of hose and a container and put the hose on that and crack the screw and the oil will come out. So first thing I'm going to do is just start it up and let it run for 5 minutes just to warm up the oil so it drains easier. Alright, I'll be back once it's warmed up. But what I've got here is a bit of black rubber hose that fits over the oil bleed screw T-piece setup, and then that just runs through that little hole and just into a plastic container here. Just an old water jug that I use for whatever, oil changes and stuff. So now we just get a 10mm spanner and we just crack that. Okay, so that's cracked. Give it a little bit of a turn. Actually, it's a bit hard holding the camera, and so I'm turning that out. And presumably this would have an O-ring on it to stop it from leaking out, and hopefully we have oil draining. We'll touch back soon. Okay, so the oil's draining out quite nicely into a little container. I did just loosen off the oil cap, just thought it might make like a vacuum or something in there and restrict it a bit, so that's just loose. And then I'll just let this sit for 10 minutes and come back and check it. Okay, so as you can see, it's container's filling up with oil. I don't actually know how much it's meant to hold. I will have to have a look in the manual for that. Next step is to take the oil filter off in there. And I just noticed something too, which I didn't actually realise before. On the dipstick here, got the dipstick, and it says, for correct oil level, do not turn cap on threads. So to me that says that you would just basically push it in and pull it out to check the oil level, as opposed to pushing it in and tightening it down. Makes sense, but just something I didn't know. Okay, now I do have a funny feeling that it's going to be messy. Okay, good news is I've loosened it. That's great. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some rags down here. Not sure how much oil is actually going to come out, like spill out of the filter, or when I take it off how much of a mess it's going to make. So just try and limit that. So I've just got a rag stuffed in under the filter there, and when I take it off I will immediately catch it in a rag and hold it upright to reduce the amount of spillage. Got to be quick. Okay, so yes, it did make a little mess. There's the filter, just a little one. Put it down there, just quickly mop this up. I will say, I find it, it's actually quite tight in there with like my hands and getting in there. Okay, so that rag that caught most of the oil, that one. And there's minimal spillage in here. That's great. Everything looks nice and clean. Lovely. Okay, so I have the new oil filter from the kit. Now what I can recommend is I like to put a little bit of oil on either side of this O-ring. Call it an O-ring. It's not really O-shaped, but you know, it's circular. Just so it gets a good seal on the filter and also a good seal on the face where this ring squishes up tight onto the engine. So we'll just plonk that there, and we have our, what do we got? Kawasaki engine oil, 1040, 4-stroke engine oil, synthetic blend and contains zinc. Okay, just crack that. I'll put it, so I'll just dip my finger in here, just a light little smear of oil on there. That's got a little smear on it, and that'll just go into there, so that sits back in there nicely, and then just a little smear on the face of that, like that. Now I put the lid back on, and I don't want to spill it. And now I have given this a wipe. I'll just give it another wipe. Oh, that wasn't good. Oh, that's going to need to be a degreaser job. Didn't want that to happen. Got to make sure you get that little bit of grit off it. So I'll give this a full clean and degrease and blow down with the air compressor before I put that back in. That was a little silly, but it's real life. This is what happens. Okay, so I'm going to screw this back on. Okay, nice. Now I'm going to go, it was pretty tight when I undid it by hand. So, okay. There we go. That's on. Lovely. Okay. So, I'm just going to go and I'm just going to put a little rag actually over the filler. I'm just going to go degrease and blow down that filler dipstick. I know who the bloody dipstick is. Be back soon. Okay, so I'm back. So I opted not to use degreaser or any sort of oil cleaning spray or chemical because I didn't want to risk any sort of contamination getting into the oil. So blew it down with the air compressor, gave it a good wipe down, crystal clean. It's beautiful. So we'll just chuck that back in there for now, and we've stopped draining, so that's great. So now I can tighten up that little bleed screw. Don't over tighten this because you're not trying to stop the oil flow with the tightness of it. It's actually the O-ring inside it that will stop the oil flow. And you'll know when it's done up, it screws in really easy, and then it just comes to a stop, and then that's it. And then we can take that hose off. hose off, hose out, and you can see the oil in there. That's how much we got out of it. So I don't actually know how much that is. This is a 10 litre container. That's probably close to a litre, I'd say. I don't actually know. But that's why they make the manual. So a little drip in there, we'll just give that a little wipe. Alright. Now lo and behold, we have a little service thing that came in with the service kit. So this is the oil capacity when you put a new filter on, because the filter will hold a small amount of oil as well. And it says 2.2 quarts. Now, we're in Australia, mate. So, I don't know what a quart is. Siri, how much is 2.2 quarts in litres?
The answer is 2.08 litres.
2.08 litres. Okay. So basically it's going to take both of these oils. Okay, I need to find a funnel. Just got an old soft drink bottle. It's nice and clean. That fits. Jeez. Tell you what. Bloody couldn't have asked for a better fit for that. Look at that. That's bloody great. Okay. Now double checked your oil bleed screw is done up and your filter's on tight. Alright, there's one in. One. Now before I put the other one in, I'm just going to give that a minute, just to make sure that I don't have any leaks. And no leaks. That's good. Because I don't have any more oil. And to go get more oil from my lawnmower shop is an hour to get there and an hour back, and then probably 20 minutes in the shop talking and looking at chainsaws and then coming back. That's lovely. I'm just going to give that a minute to settle down. I'm going to keep this, I'll tell you. That's going to go in my little service box here, because that fits in there wonderfully. Okay, dipstick. And you push it on, push it down, don't tighten it up. And beautiful, it's at the full line. Lovely. So oil filter and oil change is done at 9.2 hours. That is. That's fantastic. I don't know if I want to do the air filter as well. It doesn't actually look that bad. It's hardly done any work here. So might just leave that for another 5 hours maybe. I did give it a clean out probably 2 hours ago. Not earlier today, but on the gauge time here. So that's it. I hope this helped you. That sun's right. Hope this helped you. A little bit of insight as to a bit of easy maintenance will prevent damage further down the track. Now I'll just put my oil into a bigger container, and when it's full I take it down to our local what do you call it, rubbish recycling place, and they have like an oil section where you can put oil in, and you just tip it in there and they dispose of it for you for free. So, going to get into some mowing today. Beautiful day here, sun's out, it's awesome. If this helped anyone, just let us know. Even just a thumbs up in the comment, you know, just like, yeah, good on you. So, alright, we'll see you on the next one.